Good morning, everybody. Tug speaking. Just going through a few things on a Sunday morning. I've got a column in front of me that says some people keep journals. I keep a journal. There we go. And on the front cover, there's a picture of Mandela. And I quote Mandela. He says, "Sometimes it falls upon a generation to be great. You can be that great generation." I'm going to go through some editing of Tug's Trek and go ahead to my second part B, called Falling Plate and Checkmate in terms of chess. But before I do that, I'm going to, the newspaper in front of me says some people keep journals, some paint, and this young lady says, "I film my life." The generation, the Gen Z, is filming their lives as how they've been brought up and how they live. And I'm beginning to do the same. And old habits die hard. We're going to tell a few stories about history here. I can't blow smoke rings like I used to be able to. I'm not smoking, I'm vaping. Anyway, here we go. Chapter 11, Falling at Ceres in Zimbabwe. The war ended with the sound of paper, not bullets. The signing of a ceasefire, the handshake that turned warriors into witnesses. Overnight, the uniform lost its meaning. The Rhodesian SAS was no longer a symbol of duty, but an echo of a cause that no longer existed. When I came home to Ceres, the farm was still standing, but I wasn't. The rows of crops, the dusty roads, the hum of irrigation, all exactly as I had left to see that. Yet this man returning to the land was a stranger. The war had rewritten my instincts. I woke up to the same sun, but didn't feel its warmth. The rhythm of the farm, early to rise, early to rest, was meant to bring peace, but all it brought was silence too loud to bear. Peace was supposed to be the reward. Instead, it was the punishment. No one warns you that survival comes with its own casualties. The mind, the conscience, the self. I had left comrades behind in the bush and brought ghosts home instead. They stood with me at the gates, unseen but ever present, whispering through the rustle of maize stalks and the hiss of the sprinklers. At night, I'd pour a scotch and water like my father before me. It steadied the hands, numbed the edges, and I told myself it was a part of the old man's routine. Soda ruins the flavour. But deep down I knew it was more ritual, more than taste. A soldier's attempt to hold on to control when everything else had slipped. Zimbabwe was being born and Rhodesia was being buried. The flags changed, but the soil stayed the same. The land didn't care who claimed it. It simply wanted to be worked, and so I worked it. Day after day, sweating out the madness, willing the rhythm of labour to erase the rhythm of gunfire. But it wasn't enough. The war followed me home in ways I couldn't name. I'd wake to phantom sounds, a twig snapping, a low hum of an aircraft, and be halfway to the floor before I realized I was safe. Safe but not well. The nights were long, the mornings longer, and beneath the calm surface of the farm lay the quiet grief of a country unraveling. The government called it reconciliation. In my youth, I called it betrayal. The same men who had fought for country and flag were now treated like an inconvenience, relics of a past too awkward to acknowledge. The new rulers spoke of unity, but their eyes burned with vengeance. Those of us who had stayed, trying to make a life, to rebuild, to believe, soon realized that peace had its own kind of warfare. Still, I held on to Ceres. It was more than land, it was a legacy. My father's blood, my grandfather's sweat, and my great-grandfather's dream were beginning to get buried in that soil. I couldn't walk away, not yet. So I did what soldiers do best. I endured. I rose before dawn, planted wheat in winter, soya in summer, fixed the pumps, broke my back, and kept my silence. But beneath it all, the cracks were spreading. In the nation, in the farm, in me. The inflation, the bureaucracy, the unease, it all pressed down like a storm building on the horizon. You could feel it in your bones, like the first distant rumble before the lightning strikes. Something was coming. One night I stood on the veranda with a glass in hand, looking out over the valley my family had tamed for generations. It struck me, perhaps the true test wasn't the war at all. Perhaps it was what came after, the courage to live in a world that no longer recognized you, the courage to keep faith when everything you fought for was gone. And so I fell, not in battle, but in spirit. Not with blood, but with sorrow. Falling at Ceres was not defeat, it was an awakening. A soldier learning, painfully, that peace demands a different kind of bravery, one that cannot be taught by rank or rifle. So here are my notes reflecting on that chapter. Falling at Ceres is about resilience through routine, the R in dreams, the daily rhythm that steadies the soul when the world tilts off its axis. It's about awareness of wounds that don't bleed but ache. It's about mindset, the quiet, stubborn decision to keep showing up, even when peace feels harder than war. Enjoy your Sunday.